Hello, it is Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome to Church Talk Unlimited with James Paul Berry. Thank all of you from Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Tennessee, Texas, Oregon, and California for your subscriptions. Thank all of you for being here today with us from wherever you are on Church Talk Unlimited. Thank those of you who have made financial contributions to us, Donnie Walker, Vonnie Seiler, Annette Berry, Willie Berry, and In Detail Records. Today we're going to be talking about the question, do you want to be like Jesus? And the Jesus that I'm speaking of is the Jesus of the Bible, and particularly in the book of Matthew, chapter 20, particularly using verse 28 for our discussion. Do you want to be like Jesus? And I'm using the New International Version or the New International Translation in this subject. Do you want to be like Jesus? Matthew 20:28. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. This verse is the conclusion of an exchange that Jesus made with the mother of two of his disciples, the wife of Zebedee. But my point is for us, because often I hear people say they are Christians. And I believe that most people, when they say that, I used to say that, I don't anymore, but I think most people, when they say that, they mean that they are living like Jesus, or they are trying to live like Jesus, the examples of Jesus in the Bible. Matthew wrote, or supposedly, about Jesus saying, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. This is how people live who want to be like Jesus. They serve. I'm going to read, if you'll be patient with me, verses 20 through 28 from Matthew chapter 20. If you'd like to read along, we're not going to take very long to do this, but we are going to spend enough time to be thorough about our conversation about this question. Do you want to be like Jesus? We're going to talk about if so, why? If not, why not? If so, how? Verse 20 of Matthew 20. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down, asked a favor of him. Verse 21, what is it you want? He asked. She said, grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom. You don't know what you're asking, Jesus said to them. Can you drink the cup I am going to drink? We can, they answered. Jesus said to them, you will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father. When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant, with the two brothers. Jesus called them together and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." So back to our question. Do you want to be like Jesus? Jesus just explained to the mother of these two young men, two of his disciples, two of his 12, who she wanted to have a seat of honor in Jesus's kingdom, one on the right and one on the left. And Jesus began to tell her what they had to do. They were going to drink from his cup. They weren't going to have their own cup, but they were going to drink from his cup. But the place she was asking for wasn't for him to give, but even so, they were to live lives of service. So when we say we want to be like Jesus, according to these verses, these scripture, we are saying we want to serve. We want to serve people. And serving people, of course, is not just having a desire to serve, but actually being prepared to serve, or being willing to be prepared to serve, learning how to serve and who to serve, when to serve and where to serve and why to serve. Do you want to be like Jesus? When I looked up the word great, because Jesus said in Matthew 23:11, "Let him that is great among you be your servant." Now, he's just told them Christ didn't come to be served. Christ came to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Now, some people quick to jump to foolishness about this, saying, "Well, I'm not going to give up all my rights to people just to mistreat me." I'm not talking about that. But Jesus put himself in position to be mistreated by those who took advantage of him. That's what servants do. You've served before, haven't you? Perhaps your spouse, your children, and sometimes you don't get appreciation, but you do it because it's the right thing to do. If you want to be like Jesus, and me too, we're going to have to serve. And not at our convenience, but as people have needs. The Apostle Paul wrote to a church in Thessalonica for them to do good unto all people, but especially those of the household of faith as they had opportunity. Let him that is great among you be your servant. I think we all want to be great, huh? And sometimes we have people designated: a great singer, a great dancer, a great teacher, a great preacher, a great employer, and so on. And when great is added to the equation, we expect more from that person. And according to the Bible, rightfully so. Because a great person is a servant, especially a servant to those who need the service that they give. Do you want to be like Jesus? The Google definition of the word great is of an extent or amount or intensity considerably above the normal or average. Merriam-Webster's dictionary says, a servant is a person who performs duties for others, especially a person employed in a house, or domestic duties, or as a personal attendant. Webster's New World Dictionary and Thesaurus says, a servant is a person employed by another, especially to do household duties. That was the number one answer, our definition. And the number two definition is a person devoted to another or to a cause, a creed, and etc. Do you want to be like Jesus? Is the question today. Christianity, to me, is very easy today. It's not hard like it was in the Bible. Those disciples, they had to prove their love for God. And you prove their love, according to 1 John, for God. You prove your love for God by proving our love for each other. Matthew chapter 23, beginning with verse 11, says, but he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. Because they were having this discussion among themselves about who was the greatest in the kingdom. And sometimes we have those kinds of discussions. We have our favorites. But Jesus says, he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And in one verse, he said, he that is greatest shall be servant to all. And that's a great blessing, to be so greatly blessed that you're able to be a servant to everybody. That's wonderful. And we all can at least do that by telling the truth when we know it. And truth is not always pretty. It's not always easy to swallow. But Jesus said, if you continue in my word, then you're my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And it seems like the truth is saying that you can't be great in the kingdom of Jesus without serving people. Verse 12 of Matthew 23 says, and whosoever shall exalt himself. Now, like I said, I think we all want to be great in somebody's eyes or in our own eyes. But Jesus says, if you exalt yourself, if you make yourself great, you shall be abased, you shall be brought down. And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. And I take it from his previous verse that to exalt yourself is to pretend that you're great, but you don't do nothing much to do to help people, to help the church to be better, to live better. You just facade your way through 25 and 30, 40 years of preaching and teaching as if you care, but you don't care because you don't serve the needs of the people. One of my favorite scholars, Dr. Sowell, Thomas Sowell, and I'm going to quote him, but I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like this: when you want to help people, you tell them the truth. But when you want people to do for you, you tell them whatever they want to hear. And I'm paraphrasing, but I think that's the gist of what he was saying. A servant tells the truth to the best of their ability. And by telling the truth, we serve people because people need to know the truth. People need to know sometimes the truth is we don't know the truth about many things. A servant will admit that. Verse 13, Matthew 23, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. I used to read this verse and I would think, oh, look at them. But no, it's not look at them, it's look at us. We are those people in that verse. Scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, if we are not servants. Why? Because Jesus said, you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither you suffer ye them that are entering to go in. You won't go in and serve. and you won't let others go in and serve, we are blocking the path because we are hypocrites. We are pretenders, and people see through that because we can't prove that what we're doing is right. Verse 14, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses. You go and take the widow's money instead of helping the widow to maintain the lifestyle that she had when her husband was alive. You're not serving the widows, you're serving yourselves, and have convinced many times the widows to believe that they should be taking care of you instead of you trying to do all that you can to make sure that she's taken care of as a servant of God. And for a pretense, make long prayer. Therefore, you shall receive the greater damnation. Now, if the Bible is true, according to this, Jesus says, when you hypocrite through this situation in the church, in this world, when you hypocrite through your environments, your habitats, your career, your lifestyle, or whatever it is, and make pretense with your life, you're going to receive greater damnation. And specifically, particularly, if you got God in front of you, using God as a shield to do nonsense, anything but serve. Who wants to be like Jesus? Because you have to be a servant. Do you want to be like Jesus? You're going to have to be a servant. Verse number 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte. Let me go back, if I may. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, church folks, folk in the synagogue, folk in the temple, folk in the nation, folk in the this and that, folk in the fraternity, sorority, whatever you're in, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing to serve the people, you are those who compass sea and land to get members, to get new folks to come into these organizations that are supposed to be helping people live better lives. And the second part of this verse 15 says, and when he is made, and when he is converted, when he is convinced to become a part of your fraternity, your sorority, your church, your union, your organization, your corporation, when he becomes a part, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Jesus is saying, when we don't serve, number one, we don't serve God, we don't serve the people, we don't serve the people, we don't serve God. We are hypocrites. And all we are doing is getting people to come into our organizations, and when they get there and see the truth, they end up being worse sometimes than we who invited them. And a lot of times we think those become worse because they quit coming. No, it's those of us who stay and continue to live that hypocritical way and know that we're doing it, but we have too much pride to give it up. Thank you so much. Until next time, I wish you love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. We're going to go now to our live chat and see if we have any comments and or questions. Thank you all so very much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Let's see what we have. Donnie Walker, all blessings to you and your family. Thank you, Donnie. Shalom, all blessings to you and your family as well. This verse has been reversed in real time. I wish you had listed the verse, Donnie, so I would have known exactly which verse you were speaking of, but I think I understand. You're welcome to put in that comment if you'd like to clarify. This verse has been reversed in real time is the comment that I'm speaking of. Talk is cheap. Action speaks louder than words. Yes, indeed. And in religion or in life in general, when it comes to helping the community, you hear a lot of words. You hear a lot of words. And these words have gotten in the way of truth. I mean, we're so used to just pretending that it's nothing anymore. We expect people to not be truthful and honest with us. But Jesus says, if you're going to do his will, God's will, you're going to have to serve. The leadership are the Judas goats because they all feel privileged to be served. Yes, and many feel owed to be served. This sister told me about this one preacher who bought himself a house out of church funds, and that money should go to people who have needs. Somebody who needs a house. There are people on the street. And if this is a lie, she lied. She's somebody I know personally. And this is privilege. You know, you don't have to worry about money to pay for your things. You just go and take what you want and buy it. And you have members who have served for years as faithful as you have, and they can't get a bone. That's not right. They want to be admired and worshiped. 20-minute performances is all it takes in Jesus' name. Yes, a lot of performing going on, I understand. And people want that. If you don't perform, people say you don't have the Spirit of God, and that you got a dead spirit if you don't get up and perform as if you feel something. But it has to be more than feelings. It has to be more than feelings. Now it's better to give than to receive. Just don't ask for any money back. I got you, brother, because that's a sin, it seems like. To go to the church, I never hear church advertising, come to us if you need some money. I've never heard it, even to its own members. I've never heard leadership get up and say, brothers and sisters, if you're in desperate need, come talk to us. We will help you. Anyway, thank you all so much. Donnie, I wish you had put that comment in about the verse that has been reversed in real time, but maybe we can get to it next time. Anyway, I appreciate you all. God bless you. And remember, if you have any questions, any doubts, any debates, anything about anything that I say, you're welcome. I'm here every Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can leave it in the live chat. After I'm off the live stream, you can leave it in the comments section, or you can email me at theoriginalchurchtalk@gmail.com. See you next time, God willing. God bless you.